Hey guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. My nickname is iFaceball, and in this episode we're going to take a closer look at the Tier 9 American T49 light tank. During this tank review we will be looking into whether it's worth grinding for, how its tank statistics looks. We will also compare it against itself and a heavy tank. Don't worry guys, I have not yet gone mad. Furthermore, we will perform a quick armor profile rundown, and afterwards I will take you guys alongside a couple of battles that I selected for today, which hopefully will give you a good idea of this tank in action. And finally, I will finish up with a quick sum up and my rating of this tank. Okay guys, so is this T49 just another light tank? Does it have any specialities? Before we answer, let us quickly go down the memory lane. If you remember back in 80s-60s and during the First World War, there existed a ship class. Yes, a ship class, which was classified as a monitor. It was a relatively small warship, which was neither fast or well armored, but carried a disproportionately large gun. Yes, a battleship gun, meaning a very small ship which they fitted a gigantic gun on. So of course you might be wondering, what does this have to do with this tank? Well, imagine something crazy. What if we took the 152mm KV2 gun and mounted it on a light tank? Let's try out. Behold, the T49 Derp light tank. Yeah. A quick spoiler alert guys, if you want to achieve reliable performance figures with the T49, then you don't really have a choice but picking the smaller gun. But if you want a truly unique, fun and often frustrating but definitely different gameplay experience, then this is it guys. A light tank with a KV2 gun. If you are after a truly unique tank, then this tank might have the potential to achieve it. Okay guys, let's take a quick stats rundown of this tank with my current setup. This particular tank, the crew is nothing special, but focuses primarily on camouflage and gun handling skills, which will be followed up with more focus towards view range. For the equipment I have selected binoculars, vertical stabilizers and gun rammer. For the ammunition, I'm using 14 high explosive, 2 heat shells and 6 premium high explosive shells. For the standard shells offers a 910 alpha damage, average penetration of 76, shell velocity 683 which is shared across the board, and a burst radius of 3.66. The heat shells does not provide any burst radius, but instead provides a semi-stable 700 with its 152mm penetration. The premium high explosive shells offers the exact same average damage and shell velocity, and only features a very minor penetration increase of 9, but it features a fantastic burst radius of 5.11 meters. This is crazy. So this guys is my derp setup. Yes, if you want to play competitive, if you're purely looking at having the best performance in this tank, definitely pick the smaller gun. But if you're looking into having some unique experience in a tank that can provide this insane merge between a KV2 and a very fast light tank, yeah, then don't look further. You found it. For the shell prices, the high explosive costs 750, for a heat shell 770, but a premium high explosive shell will set you back 5,200. Yes. Is it worth it? You will be the judge of that. For the ultimate fun, yeah. For the consumables, I've selected small repair kit, small first aid kit and case of cola. So with my current setup for the Derp T49 and with a quite basic crew, I'm able to achieve a rate of fire of 316, which translates to a gun reload speed of just below 19 seconds. The T49 features a nice gun traverse speed of 47.97 and a standard impressive American gun depression figure of -10. The aiming time is 3.3 and dispersion of 0.55. Yes. Remember guys, this is a KV2 gun. Sniping with this gun, yes, it's challenging. And furthermore, we are able to achieve an impressive average damage per minute of 2,876. But keep in mind guys, this calculation is based on that you will be able to deal your maximum 910 every time you use one of your high explosive shells. If we change the derp gun and selected the 90mm, you will be able to achieve an aiming time of 211, dispersion of 0.37 and an average damage of 2,907. But for this review, we are going to pick the 152mm. Yeah. For HP, 1,400 HP. Armor wise, yeah, this is a light tank. Mobility wise, this tank features a quite impressive engine that offers 840 horsepower, which translates to a horsepower per ton value of 36.05, and furthermore a top speed of 65 and a very nice reverse speed of 24. Usually on a light tank I would be more prone to remove the gun rammer and then select a turbocharge, but because this tank has very impressive values already, and because this tank is all about the gun, I really want to do what I can to be able to sometimes be able to hit. An alternative for the gun rammer could be the aiming circle, the improved ventilation, or even the improved rotation mechanism if you often find yourself firing on the move. So if my wish was to go full sniper mode, I would have removed the vertical stabilizer and replaced it with the improved aiming. And furthermore, I I would have removed the gun rammer and changed it to improve ventilation, the aiming time and the dispersion values as low as possible. But as I often find myself taking upon two very different roles, with either sniping with this tank or shooting tanks very close, then for my playstyle the vertical stabilizer is a must. For the concealment values, guys, we have 29.8 and when firing 4.47. It's definitely not a unique number, but nevertheless nice to have. For the spotting, 557, and this is of course with the binocular telescope. If I wanted to select this tank to be more competitive and adding the smaller gun, then I would of course switch it to the coated optics. But because there are so many tier 9 tanks that you can pick from, then personally I don't really see a point of playing the T49 in any other setup than with the KV2 gun. Okay guys, let's compare this tank against itself and the KV2. In this very special tank comparison, we have the T49 with a standard light tank gun, the T49 with a Derp gun, and yes, the KV2, the tier 6 Soviet heavy tank. And this is to answer an interesting question, whether the gun that is featured on the T49, is it really a KV2 gun? So let's take a look at the figures that matters, because yeah, comparing this, it's like comparing a light tank to a tank destroyer or medium tank to an artillery. In other words, it's really tricky. But let's take a look at the numbers that matters. So the T49 and KV2 shares the exact same alpha damage of 910. The module damage is the exact same of 203. The rate of fire is nearly identical, which results in a base reload time of 23 seconds versus the KV2's 224. The caliber of the gun is of course the same, 152mm. So far so good, very similar. But the shell velocity of 683, which is very slow, is still way better than the KV2's 525. So in general, guys, for the firepower, it looks very similar. But as the T49 is a tier 9 tank, it uses a bit faster and has also a slightly faster reload time versus the KV2, but at the cost of a penetration decrease of 10. For the gun handling, the T49 again features a slight advantage versus the KV2, but they share the exact same dispersion value. There is a very interesting figure here. Look, while moving, gun handling, at least according to this, should be the same as a T49 with a standard light gun, and the same when the tank traverses. I have had games where my gunner and commander was dead, and I was stunned by artillery, and the gun bloom was so large, so I actually could not see it on the screen itself. Because when you move the turret, guys, check the 0.38, and you might be wondering, what is a normal turret traverse figure? That's more like, yeah. You think the KV2 has a large bloom at moving the turret? Think again. 0.38. This is just insane. And you definitely see it in those two battles that I have selected for you guys today. Mobility wise, when you fit the 152mm Derp gun, it actually weighs less than the standard gun. It's not much, but it's still there. And the camera values of course looks very similar, besides a very small detail that after firing with a 152mm gun, you will be more visible than if you were using the smaller gun. But the difference is very little. Okay guys, for the armor profile, and I will start by switching it to the heat shells. Yeah, I'm blue. It reminds me of a song about someone who was blue. The armor is really non-existing on this tank. You might be thinking, what about if we switch it to the high explosive? Yeah. You might always be lucky to have some miracle bounces if it hits exactly on the sides on a very low angle, but keep in mind guys that the armor is very thin, so even a shell that usually would ricochet due to the 17 degrees, because your armor will most likely get overmatched by the enemy shells, you're still going to be penetrated. This tank has really no armor. So now we had a very quick comparison, a very quick stats rundown. But why? Why are we not looking deeper into those statistics? Well, the thing is that yes, the T49 is extremely unique tank. Nothing really like it, at least not in this tier. So the numbers are very hard to compare. The good part is that in those two battles we're going to take a look at, includes the first battle where the performance is nothing special, where I just played an average game with a gun that is as reliable as it is. Because of course I could show you guys a replay where I fire 10 out of 10 times and each of my shells will miraculously hit the enemy tank, but it's not going to give you guys a good feeling of what this tank really is and how it is to play with. And in the second battle I will show you guys with all the dilemmas I'm faced by playing a light tank that in some way is not really a light tank, but then again it is. Let's take a look guys. Okay guys, so here we are on mines. We are top tier. Doesn't really change that much when you're playing a light tank. At least for me. It's not that important whether you're bottom tier, top tier. But of course, in general it's nicer being on the bottom tier. But for the experience wise at least, it's good to be in the top tier. Okay guys, so my initial thought is definitely want to go up the hill, see if I can get past this rock and maybe I can find a shell here to the right on the first tank. Can I get a snapshot? Run! Took a few hits, unfortunately. Was enough to nearly remove half of my life. Not the best start. And skilled. And the skilled artillery player put in a shell into me. Let's see if we can maybe do some spotting. Yeah. Come on. Aiming, aiming. Gotcha. Definitely. For some reason, I cannot explain, it's just so much more enjoyable to kill an artillery than a general tank. But of course, it has no comparison when you kill a wheelie. Okay, so we're a bit stuck here. So we can do some spotting. You can see the we can put in a shell into the Tiger 2. Whoa. So my gunner just got damaged. To wait 28 seconds before I should attempt any shots, because my medkit will be ready at that time. Check the gun blue. And I got 10 damage upon spotting. Yeah. Okay, let's see if we can put a shell now into the Tiger 2 very soon. 4 seconds. Oh, we just got spotted. Run away again. I know I need to keep mobile because there's still one artillery left. And if I just stand still, there's a good chance that I'm going to receive the next arty shell. Okay, take a bit more. Try to shoot from a little bit more distance, hopefully I will not get spotted. Check how long time it takes. Yeah, 335 damage. So, if we, for example, were using the tier 9 gun, the 240 alpha damage, the 212 penetration, we would most likely be able to put in 2 shells into him, which would equal most likely around 480. So yes, the smaller gun is definitely, yeah, shell went somewhere. So the smaller gun is always way more competitive, so you can at least rely on it. This gun here, it's like even you're like fully aimed, and sometimes you find a tank that is you can give a shot here. Fully aimed. Nope. So yeah, you can definitely rely more on the smaller gun, because here even because even when you are let's say 5 meters from the enemy tank, you can still miss it if you're not fully aimed. I was thinking maybe I can get a shot into the IS-3, but I don't want to fall down like I did in the Tiger video. Or the PTS-3 video for that sake. There's just something about mines and me. Whoa! 3 tanks in this spot, that's quite uncommon at this stage. Definitely a surprise, I feel lucky to stay alive. Okay, reposition. I'm wondering if the Emil is still there. Yeah, I think he was. Ready and loaded. Okay guys, and here we are on steps. So the first video we saw that this gun is very hard to rely on. Even you've been standing there and aiming for 10 seconds, or at least felt so. So many times the shots just go somewhere to a black hole. This map is quite open, and I'm faced directly with the dilemma here, because we have 2 EBRs, 90 against us, and none of us have a wheelie. In my opinion, this should not be allowed at this current stage. I remember clearly that Wargaming was stating shortly after the introduction of the wheelie tanks, there will always be the same amount of wheelies on each team. I don't know what happened with the statement, but it's definitely not existing. Because when I'm playing with a light tank, like when I'm trying to play with a light tank, it feels like if I'm heads up against a really EBR, it just feels like he's just that much better than me. It's like you cannot really compare those two tanks. The current light tank meter is completely broken, in my honest opinion. How should they fix it? Just remove them. Okay, let's continue. Let's continue the games. Okay, let's see if I can get a shot in. Yeah, the thing is with this gun that if it's not fully aimed, it's definitely cannot rely on it. You can see how the enemy EBR is slaughtering our light tank. Even as you 103. Even as you notice, we have 2 light tanks on him. The IS-3 too. Finally, we got him. So even it looks like we had 5 tanks that were focused on killing him off, including me as the 6th tank. We managed to kill him. It's just I just see so many games where the EBR is just YOLOing right in front of our team's 4 or 5 tanks and just making sure that we lose the game. And in this game there are 2 enemies, so that's why, ouch. So that's why I need to take a more defensive role. Not only I'm playing with a very unique light tank that has its issue regarding aiming, but also I'm faced with we are as a team are faced with a gigantic disadvantage of the enemy team having those 2 EBRs. See that my teammate is trying to do a honorable effort in trying to spot, but the dangerous part is as soon as an EBR will challenge him, he has simply no chance. Still there's nothing spotted here. Fire a few blinds. Fires at least. Constantly looking at the map and thinking that sooner or later an EBR will come in here and start to YOLO us to prepare to run. Okay, so my teammate is challenged by the EBR. It's not looking good. Yeah, and not surprisingly, he has no chance. And the EBR, of course, just continues towards me. And even it's not just me, but also our TVP T5051 is also running away. Yeah. Not overpowered. He managed to spot me also. There's still 2 artilleries, so I want to get a shot in. Don't have that much health left. Yes, I could move closer there to spots. The thing is that the majority of tier 10 tanks, they have extreme view range. But many times, and very often, surpasses the view range of a light tank. So I feel quite certain that the TVP T5051 should be good for now. If I was playing with a more aggressive light tank, like a Russian, let's say like a Russian T-54 lightweight, I would definitely have been in the location where the TVP T-5051 is, but maybe move slightly closer. But as he's already there, and we didn't spot anything from that location, I don't really feel any point in being there at this current stage. Especially when the enemy team still has 2 light tanks left. CV-90 is attacking our artillery. See if I can put in the come on. Ah, teammate got it. But you could see how close I actually have to. My gun really needs to scrape the enemy tank. Paint at least of it before I going to shoot. To be at least certain that I get a hit. Fortunately, we lost both artilleries, one for the light, and I would assume the other one was killed by the enemy archer. Okay, the Foch was spotted, interesting. So the T110E4 is asking for assistance. The good part is that he can proxy spot from that location. So it's like kind of reverse role right now, because he's actually way more qualified to do the spotting at this stage. Let's go to T50 spotted in between around this H4-5 line. It's 10-10 this current stage. Shot into the Skoda. The gun boom is so gigantic. Any form of snapshot, it's. I really want to be certain that I fire because I haven't been spotted yet. I want them to know my location. So yeah, if I had the smaller 240 alpha damage gun, definitely that tank would have been already dead. But I really need to make my shots count. Okay, then there's the Foch. And he's on the move. Good luck. Okay. Can I snapshot? Half snapshot. No chance. Run. Back again. Maybe. No. Foch was just spotted. I know I need to support the T110. I'm just hoping he can proxy spot him again. There he is. Come on, reload. Was a hit, but yeah. Gun mechanic was like it was like shooting from a boat. It's like left, right, and the whole reticle just took that extra push to the left. T110E4 is pushing him. I think we need to hurry. And he's addition asking for help. Hurry. Come on. Still a bit worried about from the right side because I don't know where the Lorraine 40T is. Could easily be there. Oh, now I know definitely where he is. Okay, spin the shell into him, like shot. Slight snapshot there. What is that? Okay, 12:30. We have only 2 tanks left, the T110E4 and me, and we faced versus an artillery, the Lorraine, and another E4. Nice. Okay. No way I can snapshot from that distance. So I have a. So do notice that I have a heat shell loaded. How hard can it be? Each shell explodes something.
Permission to engage. We didn't even get them. Find another target.
Yeah. Trying to ram me?
Ready to fire.
There we go.
Enemy armor destroyed.
Okay, 13. Okay, 13, 14. So, so here I'm alone against the T110 E4 and the Lorraine. I'm thinking I don't want to fight those two at the same time, so I'm hurrying towards the Lorraine. I know definitely that they know where I am because I just killed the artillery player. I'm very close up. Ooh, and the T110 E4 is pressuring me from the rear now. And it must not take a shot from there, so I have to force into this guy. I don't have that much life left. Yeah, snapshot with it. Beautiful, beautiful. So, if I take the direct look, I wanted to go to the right because if I take the direct location, he would most likely be spotted there. But then again, he might already have anticipated that, and of course looking towards the location I'm going. But I have a few rocks here, so maybe I can make a small look at. Yeah, there he is, there he is. And of course he anticipated. He got only 140 lives left. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, the gun was definitely with me during the last few minutes. Okay guys, so here we're back in the garage. I hope that in both replays you got a good idea of how the gun handling is, how the tank behaves, how fast it is and how agile actually it is. I must say that the horsepower per ton value of 36.05, it's amazing value. It makes it very nimble. With the smaller gun, it would definitely way more reliable and way less frustrating than playing with a Derp gun. We definitely witness on several occasions it's near to impossible to be successful with shots that are not fully aimed. And even when they are, you still have very little chance to actually hit what you're aiming at. But yeah, this is definitely an RNG gun, no doubt about it. How would I rate this tank? 2 face bombs. The T49, it offers some unique gameplay, that is for sure. But in my eyes, it's not a competitive tank, it's purely about fun. So the thing is that I love the agility that this tank has to offer. And yes, you can fit it with a 90mm gun, but the alpha damage is very, very low. And the dispersion values and the gun handling values are not very impressive. It's definitely better, but then again, I would pick the Russian T54 lightweight any day. So this is not a bad tank, but the gun just seems kinda like nothing special. Okay guys, thanks a lot for watching guys. This was my tank review number 14. I hope you enjoyed it, and let me know what you think of the American T49 light tank in the comments below. And if you'd like to see more crazy content from my side, feel free to leave a like or even subscribe. It's a big thumbs up for me and I appreciate it a lot. Cheers guys, take care and see you next time.